Test. Pick the winning teams, no point spreads, and take home your share of $1,210,000 in cash prizes. For a $25 entry fee, you'll be picking for your share of $10,000 in weekly prizes. Finish with 215 wins and get the $1 million cash bonus. Register today and get your picks in before kickoff on Sunday, September 13th. For more details and to see a list of participating locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Call 1-800-24700.
I was in a wreck. I was in a wreck. I need to check.
Accident, the Weatherhead Insurance Company. Let you all the 500-9750.
Learn and roll is the way to go. 877-150. 877-150.
Wendy Westbrook Managing Attorney. This sports update is brought to you by Dollar Loan Center. Get up to $5,000 in minutes at Dollar Loan Center. Free to apply, and new customers enjoy 1 week of free interest on their first loan. Visit don'tbebroke.com.
UNLV senior running back Jet Thomas is one of his 50 players in college football included on the 2026 Walter Camp Player of the Year list. The Bulls will open up their 59th season of football August 29th by hosting Memphis.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Cofield Carl Monday. I'm going to make a statement and quickly reverse course. It's a comment.
Boy,
I felt end of the Raiders. Actually, no, the Raiders offseason, it got a little clunky in this market for media coverage because a bunch of media people left for other jobs or got fired. Now, Jesse from Silver and Black Sports Network was doing a great job on a Twitter comment. And my God, if you love the Raiders now, with Jesse and some other folks, the coverage of Raiders practice is unlike anything I've seen. Jesse's up with us here on this Monday. Jesse, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Well, I wanted to pay you a compliment and several other writers a compliment, and also the Raiders a compliment. We'll go through here in a couple of minutes about red zone touchdowns and Kirk and lots of details. Isaiah Palomar, exception on Kirk. And I'll say, first of all, the very cool that they don't clamp down on you guys because, as we saw last week in college football, Colorado came out with some rules. Coach Prime was like, you're not allowed to say anything that you see in practice at all. So kudos to the Raiders for being pretty open and allowing you guys to go and cover them and give out some details.
Yeah, I would say they're probably like middle of the road in terms of what they do. I love the PR staff there. I'm not just saying that to like save face or anything like that. Like there are some teams that kind of let you shoot everything, and some of that video is out there. I think they've toed the line pretty well on what we're allowed to do and not do. We're not allowed to like live play-by-play, and I think that makes sense. Like, why do we need to do that during the recap after the fact? So yeah, they're pretty good. And this staff, honestly, look, it's a new staff. They don't want a ton of like their stuff out there, but they're good about what we can and cannot say. Like it's very collaborative, I think, and it hasn't been just like a nope, can't do this, can't do that. And to your point, like it's a great time on the beat. Like there was a void with the Athletic leaving and Victor and all that stuff, and to Sean Reed as well. And Sam Warren stepped in and become a really great source for Raiders fans. He's awesome, former college football player at Syracuse. He's done a great job. Brian McFadden at ESPN, obviously, and then all the other sources that have still been over there for years as well. So to your point, yeah, it's an awesome time to be on the beat, and we got a lot of people that really love football and really know what they're doing on the Raiders beat. It's exciting as the team kind of looks like it's heading in the right direction.
Not taking shots at anyone because I've already shouted him out. Sam Warren is a major upgrade, and I hear, just like we do, a little more of that football background is because, like you said, he was a walk-on at Syracuse. You play college football, so it does certainly help to understand what you're watching and then pass on the message. Now, the flip side is I often think as I'm watching UNLV practice that I don't even need to know all of this or want to know all of it. But my guess is I'm wrong to know all of it. Like there is such a hunger for any sort of when football first comes back that people are just gaga over finding out, that someone left practice or you had 2 touchdowns in a red zone session.
Yeah, there's some people that care about like the nitty gritty details of like, okay, how many times, have they been in 12 personnel or, what's their motion rate and all that stuff. There's other people that want no part of that. They don't know what the heck 12 personnel is. They don't know who's not. Like, you have to code that line between the two things. So yeah, it is kind of cool though, because you can have a bunch of different fans, the folks that are like the casuals, and I don't mean that as an insult. And then also the folks that are like diehard that want to know every single thing. And again, that makes it fun. Like you appeal to people, you cover the team. That's why it's exciting on the beat now, because there are people that provide a little bit of everything to it as well. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, how do I actually get out there with the correct context and all that stuff? Because also too, the thing that I constantly find myself wondering is like, people need to realize like we're pulling a couple plays, from, and over the course of a game, obviously that translates too. But like, these are situational spots throughout practice where it's like people sometimes live and die off a certain thing. So you have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt and realize that it is in practice, and because they're putting these guys in certain situations, sometimes throw into cover and get a shot. So it's an interesting ordeal.
Jesse Merrick with us here on ESPN Las Vegas, ESPN Reno, from Silver and Black Sports Network. Okay, find me something negative for Fernando.
Kind of settled in, getting rid of it a little too quick on like I think 2 of the 3 incompletions that he had in the beginning half of the game there. That was kind of my assessment. But overall, like I was impressed with what we saw to him in that game.
Jesse, just looking at other young guys in that preseason game, just because I know we talked about it last week, going over to the secondary guys, it was a struggle for those young guys in the secondary on Thursday. Is it just as simple as McCoy hasn't played football and he's going to have a little bit of a learning curve coming? Or is it actual a little bit on the younger guys in the secondary?
Yeah, I think it's still early down the alarm bell, because again, I just realized like today, we've been keeping track of the days of practice. There are 13 days of practice into training camp. That was their first preseason game. And while 2 weeks sounds like a lot, it's really not that much when you factor in a new coaching staff and all that. And I understand they had OTAs and minicamp and everything in the offseason. But for these young guys, like they're still trying to figure it out. Then you throw in the fact that Jermod McCoy, like you noted, hasn't played since 2024. I think it's a matter of like, praise the kid for getting to that point to be able to even get back into a game and do that. And then now let's see what his strides or lack thereof look like in the next couple weeks and as the season starts. Because it's hard taking that much time off, especially at corner, that requires you to be such a crazy athlete. And I will say, I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but it looked like they were having him play a lot of press bail coverage, where like down on the goal line, you don't really want to do that. You want to contest those catches, get right up in their grill and stick with them the whole way. So it might have been something the staff was telling them to do. So I don't know, but at times too, definitely on the goal line, like should have covered those a bit better. And you want to see him play a little bit better in those situations to be able to contest those things more. Didn't quite see that from him. And again, like you can't make Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett look like Tom Brady, with 16, 17 straight completions to open the game. That's a bit alarming, but also too, at the same time, the D-line needs to get home. Even though they're running a lot of quick, like 3-step type of stuff, you have to be able to get home and create a rush. And they haven't been able to pop Max Crosby in there over the years. And that popped up again. And I think that honestly is the more alarming thing than the corners. Like, got to give them a help, got to figure out a way to generate pressure. And that could come as they crank things up defensively and maybe do a bit more. They were super vanilla. So maybe that comes. But to me, the bigger thing was like, hey, where's the D-line at? in this thing. Like, they got to be able to get some pressure to help their guys out a bit more.
By the way, Jesse, I know this is not a Raider question, but why was Jeremiah Love in the game so long?
Man, I had that question up in the press box. We were all wondering too. We're like, what's he still doing out there? It's crazy. Like, I had multiple people throughout the game texting me, Jeremiah Love's the real deal. And this was like throughout the game. So, and I'm sitting there thinking the same thing, wondering, why is he still in there? You already saw what you need to see. Rest that kid. You're going to run him 50 times a game. Obviously exaggerating, but like, he's going to get the rock a ton. Don't feed him that much. And obviously we saw what happened there.
Let's go to this week. Joint practice begins with the Texans down in Houston. This is a nice opportunity for everyone on that Raider offense to go up against one of the best defenses in football, even with it just being a joint practice.
Yeah, massive opportunity. I mean, over the years, when I've talked to players and covering teams and stuff in the league, they all say that they get more out of those joint practices than they do the preseason games, just because opposing coaches are much more willing to show more of their playbook, dive deeper into the playbook, get more creative defensively with blitzes and different coverages and how they disguise and stuff like that, because it's not out there for the world to see during those team sessions, as it is in the preseason. So that's the thing, is like, you get a more realistic look, I guess is the best way to put it. So for Fernando Mendoza, whether he continues to go with the twos and go against the twos, or if he does get first team reps against the Texans, like, amazing opportunity to be able to go and match wits with, D'Amico Ryans out there, one of the best coaches, young coaches and up and coming coaches in the league, and kind of what he's done, especially from a defensive perspective. That's going to be huge for him, but for everyone too. Cause again, like, we leave the preseason game, we were feeling pretty good about the corners for the Raiders entering that preseason game. You leave it kind of like we talked about. And then also too, with the same vein, well, if their corners were having that much success in practice, it didn't translate to the game. Makes you wonder as well about the receivers and the lack of production from most of them outside of Jack Besh there. So, like, that's something to keep an eye on too. Like, these corners, these receivers need to have a good showing against the Texans, and this is a good opportunity for them to kind of potentially take their game to the next level as well.
Jesse Merrick, Silver and Black Sports Network. All right, latest podcast. Max Crosby was at it again. What?
Yeah, he was tearing practice up. This was not today. It was yesterday. He, I think, had 3 sacks and a pass breakup. Was kind of giving it to DJ Glaze that day. He's kind of taking turns with either DJ Glaze or Colton Miller in terms of having big days. But I will say they responded today, handled them pretty well. But that was the back at it again. He did bump in, or he ran DJ Glaze into Kirk Cousins. Kirk did end up on the ground. And there was the whole, obviously, the scuffle from earlier last week when they got into it and they got, quote unquote, suspended, So that was like a little bit of a, whoa, what's going on here? So he probably needs to cool it in terms of getting too close to the quarterback. But that's what the back at it again was with him, was just kind of impacting and wrecking practice, for lack of a better word. We've seen that from Max from time to time, but I would say today at practice, a better response by the offensive line to be able to contain him a bit more.
Traden Stukes and his extended run with the ones.
Yeah, he's getting more and more opportunities. This is a kid that I think we all thought would probably be the safety, like a safety of the now for the Raiders. They had been working him a lot at nickel and safety with the twos, and we hadn't seen him get a ton of opportunities. I thought maybe in the preseason game when the twos went out there, he would be the primary nickel. That was actually Greedy Vance, and now he's getting more opportunities working as a safety with the ones. Real interesting to see the rotation between all the bodies that they have in there, guys that can do a lot of different things. So that's huge because this is a kid that has a very, very interesting skill set, very versatile player, and what he can do. So I had kind of said that they're taking their time with him because what safeties and nickels are asked to do is a lot. So they loaded it up, kind of brought him along slowly, and now it feels like he's starting to make his run. Now I wonder if he's able to lock down a spot or if he becomes a rotational piece with all the safeties they have. I think Isaiah Paul-Mao should be on notice. I think he's a guy that can come in and replace Isaiah Paul-Mao as one of those deep safeties.
20 seconds. Is Brock Bowers okay?
Yes, he was fine. He was wrecking practice again today. Made the play of the day, going up for one, making a one-handed catch with a defender all over him. It got called back because of a holding, but Brock Bowers is fine. He'll be ready to roll as long as nothing happens going forward.
Jesse, tell people here again, still 20 seconds left. Sometimes I have to fib on this, but what do you got coming up this week on Silver and Black Sports Network?
Yeah, so I'm taking a little bit of a break as they head to Houston. I'm not going to Houston, but I will be following everything that goes on out there. So we'll be back at it on Thursday night following that game against the Texans. Myself and Ryan Hogue will be breaking it down. Ryan provides great insight into everything that happens. We did it for the first time in the last preseason game against the Cardinals. Tons of fun. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that after the game on Thursday evening.
Jesse, thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Gambler's Bonus hits again. On June 14th, Betty hit 4 fours, clearing her Gambler's Bonus 4-of-a-kind bingo card for over $11,000. Betty hit big and so can you with Gambler's Bonus. It's why you play the game.
JT once again for Finley Volvo Cars, Las Vegas. Reserve your all-new 2027 EX60 full electric SUV. Deliveries are upcoming here in September and October. The MSRP on this vehicle is $62,145 on the EX60 P10 dual motor SUV. It's so fast charging, it goes from 10% to 80% in 16 to 19 minutes. Beautiful Scandinavian design. Finley Volvo Cars, Las Vegas.
2 of Zippy's favorite items at a special price? Yep. The August deal is a spaghetti and chicken mix plate for only $10.99 at the takeout counter. Also available in the dine-in restaurant for a slightly higher price. Take advantage of this limited time special offer through August 30th. Just order and pay online or through the Zippy's app. Limit 5 plates. Zippy's, celebrating 60 years of serving Hawaii comfort foods. 4 locations to serve you. Arroyo Crossing, Southeastern in Henderson, West Charleston Boulevard in Summerlin, and now on Camino al Norte.
Less than 4 in 10 kids aged 6 through 12 are playing sports regularly. 4 in 10 kids? Let it sink in. Just 4 in 10 kids. ESPN is building a nationwide coalition powered by Disney called Take Back Sports, with the purpose of training more coaches, expanding access, and creating community-driven sports programming that puts kids and fun first. We're working on that story. We hope you'll join us.
Visit takebacksports.org to learn more.
The Little League Classic from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, as the Braves face the Brewers, Sunday at 3 on ESPN Radio Las Vegas.
Brought to you by the Richard Harris Law Firm. Just in case, call 444-4444.
Listen to UNLV Sports right here on ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM, KWWN, Las Vegas. Live from the Finley Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, big hour of UNLV and Rebel Talk. We're on Rebel Talk. Caleb Herring's coming up in about 25 minutes, color analyst for the football program, co-host of the Dan Mullen radio show. But we wanted to get in another one of the coaches on the basketball side. Lindy LaRock came in with us on Friday to talk about the schedule, and she's got a real aggressive non-con. And Josh Pastner had a couple minutes here on this Monday to join Parles and Cofield. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on. We'd love to talk about the schedule. That's why I'm on. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes right before football season hits. It's coming up here, and obviously week 0, huge game, UNLV, Memphis, Allegiant Stadium, Saturday. I think that's the 29th, right? Yeah. So, but anyway, here's what I would tell you guys. We have 20 home games, okay? 20. And you know what? When I got the job here, people said, hey, you've got to schedule more aggressively. Get better teams coming to Thomas and Mack. That will draw more people in. People will buy more season tickets. And you do that plus winning. Either or, you're going to draw people. But obviously winning's number 1. And then 2 is having a great schedule. We have 20 home games. And if you include the Lee's Family Forum game on December the 12th versus Washington State, that's 21 games you get in the season ticket package. In the month of October 7th, we play Utah, Big 12 team. October 24th, we're playing BYU, a Big 12 team. Then October 29th, we're playing an SEC team in Missouri. We've got Stanford at home. We got Washington State, as we mentioned. We have a monster's home schedule. Plus, we're at San Diego State. Plus, we're at San Francisco. Plus, we're at the Players Era Tournament opening up in Kansas. Get your tickets. Steve, you guys, come fill out Thomas and Mack, UNLVtickets.com, or send me an email and I'll get you connected so you can buy season tickets. Joshua.Pastner@unlv.edu. You get free parking Where else in the city can you get free parking and attend a game of great entertainment? Our in-game entertainment is going to be up to another level. This is important. This is not my team. This is the city's team. This is the surrounding areas team. This is Running Rebel Nation's team. But we need everyone in Thomas and Mack. We do. We have a great schedule. Get your season tickets. Please, it's important. This is your program. You can make a huge difference.
Josh Pastner with us. That was a good opening statement. And, as we do on the Coaches Show, I got a lot of follow-ups. First of all, where is the roster right now in terms of being prepped to take on Power 4 schools? I think it's mostly done, but do you have any roster updates with, I guess, one, Allen Breed, and then you guys were mentioned as a potential spot for other transfers. And by the way, how does the transfer portal even work now with the 5-and-5 thing?
Steve, I don't even know what's going on. Half the time I'm asking my compliance guy, Justin Campbell, who's a lawyer, like, what does this mean? A stay, all these, because it's not NC2A stuff. It's all through the court systems. You know what I mean? So you're like, can you put this in English? Just straight, English for me. So like second grade level, so I can understand this, because I'm not a lawyer on these things, so it's sort of hard to follow. But in all seriousness, kind of here's where we're at. We have 12 current scholarship guys on the roster. I do have 14 scholarships. Allen Breed, it is not. We're still waiting a final decision by the NC2A. We don't feel confident they're going to pass it, that he's going to get eligible. That's just kind of where we are right now. So we don't see that happening. So we're not counting on, as much as I would love to have Allen Breed here, we're not counting on it just based on the circumstance. We don't see that going through. If he's not here, that leaves us with 2 spots. What will we do with those 2 spots? We are still actively recruiting. Yes, there's these 5, the class of 2022, meaning that the new rule in college athletics is you have 5 years to play 5 years. So you have no longer 4 years of eligibility, 5 years. And that technically started for the class of 2023, which goes into effect next year. However, the class of 2022, the graduating class of high school class of 2022, who just completed their 4th year, they're sued. Lawsuit after lawsuit all throughout the state courts. The state courts have granted a lot of players eligibility. The state of Colorado has also granted them, but then the NCAA has taken the state of Colorado to the 10th Circuit District Court, and we're waiting on what that's going to happen. If the NC2A wins that, then it all comes back down to the state court cases. If the NCAA loses that, then everybody's eligible. That was a senior last year. So yes, we are still actively recruiting. We would like to get another guy if it's able to. Obviously, you can get a guy and then a month later he's not eligible either because the courts get overruled or the decisions get turned on appeal. I don't know all the lawyer language talk, but we are not done with our roster, even though we do start school on Monday. Drop ad date is the following Friday. So we've probably got, and we have our team meeting Sunday at noon. I would like to have our roster finalized by Sunday at noon. I'm hoping for that. Whether that's we add anybody or we don't, everything is going to be moving here in the next 24 to 36 hours.
Boy, for a guy who doesn't know much about it, you went on for 3 minutes there. What are you talking about?
Well,
a lot of self-deprecation, I
do know. I mean, of course, I was kind of half joking about not knowing a lot about it, but I've kept in the loop on it. And so what could happen is in the 10th Circuit of Colorado, if the NC2A wins that, the players then could go back to the state courts and try to get their names back involved with state courts, and that would supersede that. Secondly, in the state of Ohio today, the initial court case with Ohio players granting that year, the NC2A won that today. So the players in Colorado are no longer eligible based on the state court case, but they're eligible based on the Colorado federal case. So who knows, Steve? There's a lot of moving parts. I actually called the NABC today. The NABC is the National Association Basketball Conference, which for all of coaches, especially in the college level, high school level. And I called him. I said, "Hey, this is getting to be completely ridiculous. Like, just at some point, I am non-gray area guy. Just tell us, is everyone going to be eligible? Is everyone ineligible? Like, we can't be doing this for the next 30 days. Just either clear everyone or somehow there's got just like at this point, this is just not, it's complete chaos. And we just want some sanity in a sense that we've got to have some directiveness of just saying, here's the deal. Everyone's eligible to play or no one's eligible to play. But we're all in between, and I just don't like gray area because when there's gray area, there's less accountability. And so trying to figure it out and sort through it has been an interesting dynamic. So we'll see. It's just you got to be willing to change, adapt, be flexible, wear loose fit clothing, and that's what I'm trying to do in this time. But, Steve, that doesn't change the fact that we got 20 home games, man. Free parking. UNLVtickets.com or send me an email, joshua.pastner@unlv.edu. That no matter what, regardless of the court cases, you got 20 home games, 21 if you include Lee's Family Forum, which is included in the season ticket package, and our first 3 games, 2 Big 12 teams and an SEC team. What more can you ask for?
Coach, I'm happy you circled back there because I was going to ask you about those 3 games against Utah, BYU, and Mizzou. Speak on the importance of being able to play. Look, BYU and Mizzou have really high expectations, and Utah looks to be vastly improved going into this year from a year ago.
Well, you think about it, those 3, first of all, BYU and Missouri have potential lottery picks on their team. Like, you know, if you look at the 2027 NBA draft, like they have guys listed, multiple guys on the first round draft board, possibly. Utah signed a probably the best player from an Israeli who's outstanding. And I'm not sure if he got eligible or not, but he's really, really good. One of the best players overseas. So they're going to be vastly improved, as you mentioned. They really increased their NIL budget to a very high level. So they went out and got some great players. And so we're going to be really tested early and often in October to allow us to be as ready as possible for November in those first 2 games when we play Northern Arizona at home and then Stanford that week. And then the following week, we got Stanford plus 3 right in a row of the players era. So Stanford is from Birmingham, Alabama. Stanford obviously is from Palo Alto, California. But those are our first, you know, after we get through those 3 games in October, then you got those 3, then the players era. So I think the Utah, BYU, and Missouri game will really expose us, guys, in a good and bad way. What does that mean? In a good way, we'll see, okay, we're really probably good in these areas. In a bad way, we're not good in these areas, and that needs to be cleaned up. So we'll be able to have great exposure on the good and bad with our team in the month of October, which I'm happy about as a coach, because sometimes when you're just practicing against yourself over and over, things can get hidden without playing against other high-level competition.
Coach, one other thing that I want to bring up with the schedule, and I know this does not include the 20 home games, but that back-to-back road trip, the back-to-back through California, on the hill in San Francisco, and then down at Viejas at San Diego State. I really love that for you guys because you're really going to learn how to go on the road and play in 2 really difficult road environments right out of the gate in early December.
Well, think about our December schedule. At San Francisco, at San Diego State. Then a week later, we're playing Washington State, a Pac-12 team, in the Lee's Family Forum. Then a week later, we're playing SMU in Phoenix. That's our first 4 games in December. We've got a monster schedule. Now, is our schedule lined up for who we're playing on our NIL roster budget? Probably no. I mean, you both know that. But we have to challenge ourselves in order for us to be ready for the Mountain West Conference play. And so we're probably, you know, if you look just on NIL numbers, we're going to be playing in above our class weight, and that's just the reality of it. But the great thing is on basketball, you still can only put 5 on the floor regardless of different teams' NIL budget. So this will prepare us, as you mentioned, even the 2 road games at San Francisco, at San Diego State, as we get into Mountain West Conference play. And so our goal is to win every game we play, but the setup in October, November, and December is to get us ready for that opening weekend or that opening game. When we play Grand Canyon, I don't have it right in front of me, but I think we open up with Grand Canyon, the Mountain West Conference play at Grand Canyon, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right on that? I don't have it right in front of me, but
correct.
That's at Grand Canyon. So Grand Canyon could be picked to win the league. So those two games on the road at San Francisco, at San Diego State, the thinking of mine is that's got to get us prepared for when we're opening at Grand Canyon to start the season in Mountain West Conference play.
Josh Pastner's with us here on ESPN Las Vegas talking about the schedule. UNLVtickets.com, Run Rebel schedule, non-con and conference is out. One news update, not to bring you down, but looks like Jaden Henley will be back with Grand Canyon. So that was a strong squad, gets even stronger with the return of the 5-5 senior.
But again, that is correct. And that is based. So that's a great example that he's cleared. He's playing there right now based on the Colorado court case and these other cases. So that's what I'm saying. Some guys like a Jaden Henley, I don't know if he's in a state court case. If the Colorado gets overturned, then only guys who are going to be named in court cases can play and other ones won't be able to. So some guys might, depending on what happens in the 10th Circuit Court. And here's the other thing to think about. In the state of Colorado, they did not discuss amateurism. All they talked about is the portal window and fifth-year guys in the class of 22 can play. Well, what happens about amateurism? That's going to need to be cleared up in the court case as well, too, because guys who sign with agents that are professional agents to represent you professionally and or you signed anything else and you became technically professional, by the NC2A standards, you are ineligible to compete. And so that's got to be clarified, too. So, yes, Grand Canyon did get Jaden Henley, who's really good. But, again, that's kind of where we're all – that's why I called the NABC. Like, so, I mean, what are we doing? We got it where everybody can be on the same page or we're not. We've got to figure this out because right now there's a lot of confusion about of who can play and who can't.
I didn't get to ask a follow-up earlier. When you went on your rant with the NABC, did they say anything or just hang up the phone?
No, they agreed with me. They understood. But they understood. They understood where I was coming from. I was very direct about it. They got it. They understood. But they probably don't have as much. They don't have a lot of juice or say to make changes or make decisions. And so, it's just that's kind of where it's at. And we've got to kind of figure this out in a way because things are moving really fast. And for me, at this point, I'd rather just say everyone's eligible at this point because, we're starting in school in a week. Yeah. So you don't want to take a guy or two and then all of a sudden September 15th, they say they're ineligible. Does that make sense too? I mean, that's not good for anybody either. So that's where a lot of these things are really, real time moving from one area to another. And you're just trying to figure it out on the fly.
Coach, what does it mean for you and for the program to get a chance at a top 5 blue blood in Kansas? And follow up on that, last year's Players Era, you were a little shorthanded. We don't know what's going to happen with injuries this year, but do you feel like the roster you built is better suited to compete in the Players Era?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, to have an opportunity to play Kansas, it's on national television, it's on ESPN. It's great for UNLV. Part of the reason we did the schedule that we did this year is to try to help build the UNLV brand, which is still so powerful, but make it again nationally. That's been a big thing for people that I've talked to here locally that we got to get this out there worldwide again. And so part of that is, as we talked about, is playing the schedule and then having the opportunity to play in the Players Era against Kansas. So we're excited about that. I do like our roster. I like the roster that we put together. We had more time to put it together in a sense. And I think we did a good job on finding guys who were, as I've said it many times, undervalued, under the radar, and that can be better than what people think, or maybe better than, they got a chance to be better than their financial aspects. I mean, all those things that go hand in hand with that. So we're really excited about that. I think we did a good job in our evaluation. Steve, we've talked about it many times. In basketball, you got to be so good. You're trying to thread a needle on evaluating and then staying healthy because the numbers are so small. Whereas in football, you misevaluate or two on a guy, or you have some injuries, other than maybe the quarterback, you can be okay. Basketball, you misevaluate on a guy or two, or you've got some injury, they can crush you. So we feel, we really believe we did a good job evaluating, and we got good players, and now we've got, as a staff, got to develop them and bring them together and have great team chemistry and cohesiveness. And then from there, we've also then, got to stay healthy. And, some of that's out of our control. We do have a couple guys banged up right now. But the good news is, Tyler Harris, as you reported on, Steve, had an MCL injury, required surgery, but thankfully it was very early and he'll be back in October. And from our lesson that we learned last year, we will be extremely slow on him returning because he's a really good player. Tyron Jones, who had shoulder surgery in April, won't be cleared for contact until October. He's doing great, but full contact not till October. Dontrez Williams, his left thumb, had an injury, something with it in a practice. He required surgery, but it was a left thumb. He'll be back mid-September. So we've had some things, so we got to stay healthy. And so, Steve, I've said it. Do we not do any contact and just show up to the games? But as you know, that's just not reality. You got to play, you got to practice, you got to compete. Basketball is a contact sport, and you just pray and knock on wood you stay healthy.
Last one, when you looked around the conference slate, what'd you think with some of the new additions, some of the new road trips? Obviously, as I call them, the disloyal five or bye-bye. You're only matching up against San Diego State. So what do you think about the new conference? And I did want to follow up. How come you didn't have any matchups against, say, like Utah State or Boise State or Colorado State? Did you at least offer them like, hey, we'll do a 3-for-1 or a 2-for-1? We'll go there once, you come here 2-3 times.
Well, you know what? A couple things. I think the Mountain West Conference can be really good. I mean, you look at the teams like Grand Canyon and New Mexico and Reno, and Wyoming's going to be really good. San Jose State's got about $4 million this year in NIL, so they've increased. Hawaii ended up, they went to the NCAA tournament last year from the Big West. Always a really tough place to play there. Air Force, new coach, they're going to play faster and shoot a lot of threes. UC Davis, Jim Les has got 250 wins there. They're always tough to play. And UTEP, I mean, they've got some sleepers in there, and as well as anyone, going to El Paso is hard to win at. And so it's going to be a really good basketball league. We're going to have to obviously be at a very, very high level. We are playing San Diego State and Washington State. Washington State's in the Pac-12. So is San Diego State. Some of those other teams you mentioned, Utah State and Boise State, it just didn't work out, with our schedule as it is. And you got to remember, with those 3.5 weeks or so being out of Thomas and Mack due to the rodeo, with the NFR, you have some limitations. And so trying to work around the schedule in that is, you're doing the best you can in that area. And but again, we've challenged ourselves. It starts October 7th. As you mentioned, you get, 20. I don't know if I even told you guys yet. 20 home games. I don't think I told you just yet. 20 home games, free parking, UNLVtickets.com. Send me an email, joshua.pastner@unlv.edu. And the concessions are going to be great, in-game entertainment, and most importantly, we're going to play a great style of basketball on the floor. The fans are going to love their program and hopefully get a lot of wins along the way.
Coach, you're the best. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks for having me on, guys.
There he is, Josh Pastner. Just wish he would come on and bring some energy. Come on now. And yes, he did tell us a couple times before that. UNLVtickets.com.
Got something to say? Hit us up on the Bay Law text line. 702-364-1100. Brought to you by Bay Law Injury Attorneys. Winning is no accident.
Traffic is brought to you by Port of Subs. Stop in today or order at portofsubs.com or on the app.
Currently showing University Center Drive northbound and southbound. That's between Flamingo and Harmon is closed due to police activity. Also an accident, Cactus Avenue westbound at Jones. I-11 northbound before Rancho. And Nellis Boulevard northbound before Cheyenne.
Traffic is brought to you by Port of Subs. Stop in today or order at portofsubs.com or on the app.
Life's too short for boring bread. Upgrade your favorite sub with our limited-time jalapeno cheddar bread, baked fresh every day at Port of Subs.
Slice fresh sandwiches, Port of Subs.
Drive home incredible value in the 2026 Camry LE Hybrid. Lease this best-selling hybrid sedan for just $215 a month on a 24-month lease with $6,199 due at signing. Enjoy hybrid efficiency, modern technology, and legendary Toyota reliability. This is one of the strongest Camry lease opportunities available, packed with comfort, smart safety features, responsive performance, and everyday confidence for every commute and every weekend adventure you take. Finley Toyota, the family you choose.
Two of this generation's most electrifying stars, WBA welterweight world champion Rolly Romero and two-division world champion Teofimo Lopez, are set to collide in a high-octane summer showdown on Saturday, August 22nd, live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Don't miss this put-up or shut-up Saturday night. It's a WBA welterweight world championship, August 22nd at T-Mobile Arena. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Secure your seats before they're gone.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes and rivers. Those old chemicals dumped outside, they don't just disappear. They go right into our waterways. Only rain should go in the storm drain. Discard household chemicals properly. Use waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in working together to preserve our water resources for future generations of Nevadans.
Hello?
This is Evil Bill from Big Bank. You owe the bank money and I'm going to collect. I'll call your house 1,000 times a day and even threaten to sue you. I'll invade your personal space by yelling at you over the radio. I'll call your family and friends to embarrass you to try and find out where you are. I'll even tell you that I'm coming to your house or office to have you arrested. None of this is legal, but I'll say and do whatever I can to make you pay. What? Oh no, it's the panda again.
Call Panda Law, 702-818-3888.
Fed up with harassing collector calls? We can make them stop.
If you have debt, collectors aren't allowed to harass you. Call Peters & Associates today to learn your options to get out of debt and make the calls stop.
Call Panda Law, 702-818-3888.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Las Vegas homeowners, back to school is the perfect time to upgrade your windows. Out with the old and in with something better. At Sunburst Shutters Las Vegas, they've got everything you need. From custom shutters and shades to blinds and drapery, all built for the desert heat. Right now, during their back to school sale, get $500 off your upgrade and enjoy new outdoor shade solutions too. Schedule your free in-home consultation today. Sunburst Shutters, built for Las Vegas living. Call 702-703-2875 or visit sunburstshutterslasvegas.com.
If you're considering purchasing a new or used Honda or need to service your current vehicle, go to the Name Las Vegas Trust for exceptional sales, service, and parts. Finley. Whether you're up north, down south, or somewhere in between, you're always just 15 minutes away from a Finley Honda store. Each location has friendly and knowledgeable sales and service professionals, so give us a call or stop in anytime. Finley Honda's in Centennial Hills and Finley Honda Henderson in the Valley Auto Mall. The difference is in the name.
This sports update is brought to you by Dollar Loan Center. Get up to $5,000 in minutes at Dollar Loan Center. Free to apply, and new customers enjoy 1 week of free interest on their first loan. Visit don'tbebroke.com.
UNLV senior running back Jet Thomas is one of just 50 players in college football included on the 2026 Walter Camp Player of the Year watch list. The Rebels will open up their 59th season of football August 29th by hosting Memphis.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Back at it, Cofield and Company here on a Monday afternoon. Jeff Parles, and now joining us. We are less than 2 weeks away until you'll hear this guy on the call of UNLV football hosting Memphis in a huge Week 0 game. It's our guy Caleb Herring with us right now. Caleb, it doesn't feel like it's that close, but it is.
It's funny because like the whole off season is like, can't wait till football gets here. Can't wait till football gets here. And then all of a sudden time stops, like camps are going and it's like, man, 2 weeks seems like an eternity, but it is crazy. It's right around the corner. And once we're in it, we are in it. And the NFL preseason started. So all the wives across America who don't understand what's about to happen, get ready because the SOs are going to be occupied with football for the next 8 months.
I'm happy you brought that up because at least in our house, my wife completely understands the drill starting on about September 5th. From then on, understands the drill through. Well, the biggest thing this year, Caleb, I don't know if you know this or not, the Super Bowl's on Valentine's Day this year, which is just a comically bad draw for everyone, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's going to ruin some relationships, but I think it might fortify some. I think it's the women's turn on Valentine's Day to make it a men's holiday, right? Like women across the country, do the right thing, right? Let your husband enjoy the Super Bowl. And if not, enjoy it with him. Make it romantic, right? Like things like that. Like it's an opportunity if you look at it the right way. I'm with you. My wife is fully on board with football season. She's asked me which Raider games we're going to already this year. Like we go to Raider games every year. She's like, which ones are we going to? So she's in, like she's all for it. She lets me go do broadcasting on Saturday. So she's sacrificed her weekends during football season. So luckily my SO is on board. For those of you fellas out there who have to fight every day about it, God bless you. I wish you the best of luck for the rest of this year and into next.
So Caleb, the AP Top 25 came out earlier today. Again, never want to overreact to a preseason poll, but UNLV was in the receiving votes category, which is a nice step for the program. And a few opponents were also in the receiving votes category as well, which actually plays pretty well for the Rebels this year, especially if they can knock off all of them or even 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, I think it's good. Usually preseason UNLV has to kind of earn that top 25 nod, and that's what they were able to do the last couple of seasons and be in it at some point during the season because they win or because things are going well for the season. So hopefully that is the case. I think there is some people that still have to be proven wrong about UNLV being a sleeper team and actually being legitimate. So I think it is good to add a chip to the shoulder for UNLV if you want to look at it as bulletin board material, right? Like for guys that think that they should be within the roster. But I think you hit on the more important aspect about this. UNLV got votes for the top 25, which is a good indication that people are taking them seriously. But then more importantly, 3 opponents, including Memphis, which is a week 0 opponent, New Mexico, which is a conference opponent who had a spectacular season last year, as well as Cal, were also mentioned in the getting votes in the top 25. That makes those opponents quality opponents. And that could speak volumes if UNLV is able to come out with wins in those 3 spots specifically, but especially having a positive season, maybe a 1-loss season against one of those teams would not be a terrible backbreaking loss, right? They could still put together a good season in spite of losing to another top 25 caliber team. That would actually bode well for UNLV when the playoff committee decides who should be going. And obviously UNLV has to take care of the business. Preseason polls don't mean much. Obviously once the ball gets out in the field, a lot of things change. But I think at least from the outlook of things, the strength of schedule or quality of opponent for UNLV definitely exists when you look at the fact that a few of their other opponents are getting nods in the top 25 as well.
Caleb, before we get back to Rebels camp real quick, Memphis's coach, Charles Huff, basically with I'm not naming a starting quarterback before the game a week from Saturday. Just is there anything in the preparation that you think changes now, even though obviously Coach Mullen said, you know what, I wouldn't have named a starter publicly either if I were him?
Yeah, I think you don't change much of your game plan based on the quarterback who's playing. You would change it based on the system that you're playing against. And I think whoever's out there, maybe at this point, you've recruited all of the quarterbacks or you've brought all the quarterbacks in that are there or kept the ones that you liked when you come into a new program, if that's the case, like with Memphis. But when you do a mass overhaul like that with a staff, the system is what you coach against, right? Like Dan Mullen's probably looking at the systems that both coordinators ran offensively and defensively for Memphis to say, this is what they're going to do. We're going to game plan for that. If they've got some sort of X factor at quarterback that completely changes the way they approach, good for them. They got us by surprise. But the way you prepare for a team is to find the team structure, their team identity within their system, and attack that in your game plan. I don't think it makes or breaks. And this is, I guess, advice for any coach. I don't think it should at least make or break your game plan based on one player, quarterback starting or not. I don't think there's vastly that big of a difference in these days when you're recruiting guys specific for your system. There shouldn't be, at least. Like, you shouldn't have one guy that is a complete, triple option quarterback and one guy that's Tom Brady out there. You shouldn't have those two quarterbacks on the roster. Both quarterbacks should be able to run your system efficiently. So I think as an opponent, you just prepare for the system. I bet that's what UNLV is doing, and that's the Mullen approach is we're going to prepare for the system that whatever quarterback's going to be running out there.
Caleb Herring with us here on Cofield and Company. Caleb, the quarterback situation for UNLV, obviously Jackson Arnold in pole position, but what are we looking at right now as we head towards the end of camp?
Well, I think the gap is closed as Alex Orr has gotten healthier. I think because of his size, his stature, you forget that he was injured, had a season-ending injury last year, and was walking around in a boot for most of that season. To finish things up, and did intense rehab, obviously, to get back ready for fall camp. But I think the gap from spring to now has shrunk tremendously. And here's the thing about, there's a lot of coach talk that happens in preseason, and Dan Mullen has done much of the same, and saying he doesn't know who's going to start and all that kind of. And he was true to that word last season. People forget Alex Orr started the season last year. He took the first snap, so technically he started. And I think if it wasn't for injury, you might have seen a lot more of him with kind of both quarterbacks serving a need for the offensive system. So I don't necessarily think he's just giving coach talk when he says he plans to use both quarterbacks, or you will see both quarterbacks, or he doesn't really know who's going to take the first step. I think that there's a little bit of truth in that statement. But I think the battle has intensified. Both quarterbacks are trying to separate themselves with their play, and the coaching staff is being diligent about it. They're not giving anybody any handouts. That's for sure out there. And the defense with its improvements is making these guys prove it. So I like that the battle is intense. I would like it to be decided, but that's just my perspective on quarterbacking. I think there's some time you need to be the guy before the first game starts. And whether that's internally decided and we're just not privy to it, could be the case, but there hasn't been any real indication of that throughout the practices that we've seen so far.
Caleb, how about the guys who are protecting whoever's at the quarterback position? Just a different level of size on the Rebels O-line going into this year.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've been around the program obviously since I played, and then in the years after, I've watched a progression, and it's nowhere is more evident than in the trenches. And I think UNLV has always had skill position guys who could compete with the talent on the edges and were talented enough maybe to be considered Power 4 or SEC or Pac-12, whatever you want to call it, level of athlete. But it's always been decided in the trenches. That's football, right? UNLV has always lacked a little bit in that area. It's just tough to recruit the biggins up front. UNLV this season has a Big Ten size offensive line that they can roll out there if that ends up being who they decide to go with, right? Where everybody is 6'5" and above, over 300 easily, and strong enough and senior enough to look imposing. And I've been out to practice, I've seen these guys. They're massive compared to the years in the past where I've seen, like, that's the weak spot. You can always find it. That's the weak spot. Now you go out to UNLV practices, it's like, well, no, that's not. It might be a strength this year where they could just bully people in the trenches with that offensive line. So that's going to be exciting to see. And obviously for Jet Thomas, you're excited to see that as well, because with your talent combined with that size up front that could be paving the way for you, I think UNLV has the makings of a team that could dominate on the ground this year. As much as we talked about the quarterbacks this offseason, and Jet just got another accolade. We talked about it coming back from the break that he's getting another preseason nod. He might be on the way to collect some hardware at the end of the year if he has a big year behind that big offensive line.
Caleb Herring with us right now. Caleb, defensively, again, there were communications issues a year ago on that defense. Definitely looks to be more vocal, especially right in the middle of that defense.
Yeah, I think there's a lot maybe overlooked when you talk about communication on the defensive side. And I've been on, you talk about multiple sports where communication on defense is the key. Basketball is the most relevant. And I remember being at practices, both at the college level and when I tried my stint in the NFL. It was like, hey, communication is key. It's so loud when a good defense is out there playing. And I think Mike Shear said something to me when he was here under Barry Odom at linebacker coach, when his defensive coordinator. He said a good defense, you can close your eyes and tell it's a good defense because you can hear it. And he's talking about the communication. And I think the communication has definitely intensified. And a lot of that might have to do with the fact that Mike Shear is back and he's coaching linebackers, and it's usually the linebacker's responsibility to get everybody lined up. But I think the overall demeanor and the personality of defense, knowing the system better under Paul Guenther in year 2, number one, there's guys that are returning that are in spots to communicate the checks and the calls and getting everybody lined up. But then just the personality. There's some guys with some boisterous personalities. And I mentioned Mumu bin Wahad last week, just talking about how loud and active he is. And I think media day, he gave an example of that to the Mountain West where people really took to him because his character, he's got a voice and he's going to use it. He's out there on the defense, and it's loud defensively for UNLV. So I don't think communication is going to be an issue, or at least not as big an issue as it was last season for the Rebel defense getting lined up.
Caleb, let's shift gears NFL-wise. What did you think of Fernando and his preseason debut last week?
I think Fernando was what I thought he was, which is a good, fundamentally sound quarterback who is a master of preparation. I imagine that he is a straight-up football nerd, and I mean that as a compliment, right? The term nerd gets a bad rep, but I think for him, he prepares for every game. And I think the highlight best throw that everybody talks about is when he threaded the needle off the play action fake. I think in the second quarter, into his second series, he just got up and ripped it down the field in between 3 defenders, and it was like a pinpoint pass and completion and for a first down, all that stuff. It looked great. But what I took from that throw was that's a throw you have to prepare to make. And you have to know that you're going to throw it. You can't be indecisive. Can't be second guessing the read or the concept. For a rookie to come in with that kind of confidence and make that kind of throw, I think told me he prepared well. And there's other things that I think I would highlight from his performance that let me know he's going to be just fine at this level. It's a tough thing to do as a quarterback, but not getting stuck on a read in a progression. I think he showed the ability to get off of something that just wasn't there and find another option. There's a couple different times where maybe he thought pre-snap that the route was going to be there, but the speed of the defense closed the window before he could deliver it. And then he didn't waste time thinking about the next read. He got straight to the next spot in the progression and was able to either deliver the ball or chuck it out of bounds or throw it, which he did a couple times. But I think showing that ability to not get stuck on a progression, I think is a good sign for a rookie quarterback, especially with the kind of pressure he has. Thankfully, he'll be able to get some of the other kinks out, sitting behind Kirk Cousins and learning from him. But I think he did well for his first time out there. The pressure of that moment at home with the crowd really wanting to see what he could do. He did enough to make people comfortable with him going forward. I would say a B, maybe B minus. Some little things that he could change. But for his first performance, I think well done, and that's kind of what you wanted for the Raiders organization.
Caleb, I would just say I agree with your grade because really for these preseason games when guys who may see the field play, I think the best way to look at it is, hey, did they meet expectations for what you would like to have seen out of their performance? And I thought the Raiders offense, when Cousins was out there, when Fernando Mendoza was out there, I thought it met expectations and actually was a little bit better than I thought it would be. So all in all, first half of the game, offensively speaking as a whole, all went pretty well. I'm with you on that B minus though for Fernando.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Preseason games are for this. You call them dress rehearsals, whatever, but we got into a point, maybe it's not the point we want to be during the regular season, but we've gotten to a point, let's check in and see where we're at, right? Like this is like the midterm before the final. And you got a couple weeks before the final. So obviously things change week one and you want to be a well-oiled machine by then. But you've got joint practices coming up to iron out some things. You've got a lot more camp. You've made the decision now for a starting quarterback, so you can move forward with those reps divvied up appropriately. So ones are getting the ones reps as they should be. So you'll improve still. But that first preseason game is definitely a checkpoint to make sure you're on track. And I think while it's not perfect, it wasn't absolutely amazing. Guys were on track and doing what they're supposed to do. And I think especially when you talk about the number one overall pick, you have the luxury now as the Raiders of taking your time and letting that play out and letting him develop appropriately before you throw him out there. And it's been proven time and time again that's the best way to handle a young quarterback with high expectations, to kind of, I don't want to say shelter him, but make sure he's ready before you throw him out there with the real stakes at line.
All right, Caleb, we got to get to the important stuff now. New menu at Allegiant for this season?
So I'm privy. First of all, Allegiant, when UNLV plays, and maybe when the Raiders plays, well, I've never been in the press box for a Raiders game, but Allegiant has the best menu food available to the press and to the media on the press box level, by far. Not even close. Allegiant knows how to do it. But I've been told, I have my birds, my whisperers, if you're going to go with a Game of Thrones reference there, I've got little whispers everywhere. My birdies are telling me that there's a new menu on the docket for this season, and there's going to be some surprises for the faithful that do get to enjoy and dine in the press box during UNLV games. So I'm excited to see exactly what's on the menu. There is one thing I can guarantee. The famous short rib that is served, and listeners probably just got jealous, like short rib at a football game. Yes. Allegiant has short rib at the football game. That has been slotted for the Reno week. So we're going to have to wait a full season for it.
Oh, man.
But I think appropriately so. When Reno comes in, we want to make sure they understand that we just do things better down here in Vegas.
That's an important one. By the way, one last one on food before we let you go. Is cauliflower steak a vegan option that you would like?
So here's the thing. I'm tempted by cauliflower because I've had buffalo cauliflower before, and it actually worked. I took it, and I was like, okay, it makes sense. So cauliflower has established itself as a vegan option, but I'm not a fan of the vegan option at buffets. And Steve knows this. I can't stand it because it's always like tofu or some weird invented thing, the impossible meat that's not real. I don't like it. So, but the idea of a cauliflower steak has intrigued me, and I'm interested because I know cauliflower is very versatile and it's kind of plain. But I think it's one of those things that if I do try it, it's going to be on a separate plate. I don't want it to disturb the main meal, right? So I don't want my cauliflower steak, if it's bad, touching things and contaminating my good plate with protein. So I got to see, but I might give cauliflower a chance if it's the vegan option.
You know, I will say, I'm happy you brought it in there. When done correctly, buffalo cauliflower is a great appetizer. It is a great appetizer.
And that's what it
done
was.
Correctly.
I think you're absolutely right. That's what I had it as, and it was light enough to where it didn't like impede on the actual meal. And that's kind of what I want. If I'm going to have vegan options, really just a side or an appetizer for the real food, right?
Yeah.
So cauliflower might work as a vegan option. I might try it this year. We'll see.
And that's the most important thing we get from today, though. And I'm kind of with you too. Especially if it's up there for one of those press games, I think I might have to dabble as well. Caleb Herring here every Monday here on Cofield and Company. We're less than 2 weeks away from the Rebels hosting Memphis in a big Week 0 clash, which you'll hear right here on ESPN Las Vegas. Caleb, thank you, buddy.
All right, guys, take care.
Caleb Herring, everyone. All right, when we get back, grab bag time here on Cofield and Company.
If you're considering purchasing a new or used Honda or need to service your current vehicle, go to the Name Las Vegas Trust for exceptional sales, service, and parts. Finley. Whether you're up north, down south, or somewhere in between, you're always just 15 minutes away from a Finley Honda store. Each location has friendly and knowledgeable sales and service professionals, so give us a call or stop in anytime. Finley Honda in Centennial Hills and Finley Honda Henderson in the Valley Auto Mall. The difference is in the name.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. The insurance company's job is to pay you as little as possible. Our job is to get you every dollar you deserve. Call Lerner & Rowe today and let's make them pay. 877-1500.
Call 877-1500. 877-1500.
Randy Westbrook, managing attorney.
This season, it's your turn to play like a pro with the William Hill Pro Pick'em Football Contest. No spreads, no guesswork, so I'm in. It's Steve Cofield. The William Hill Pro Pick'em Football Contest is awesome. Just pick the winners and take your shot at a share of over $1.2 million in cash prizes. For just $25, you're instantly in the game. If you dominate the season with 215 wins, you could score a $1 million cash bonus. Don't wait. Register now and lock in your picks before the season kicks off on Sunday, September 13th. Get all the details and find a location near you at williamhill.us. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Good morning.
Vegas is built on service.
Studio lights on, please.
3 shifts a day.
All right, let's do this.
As your morning begins,
It's showtime.
We have a lot to talk about live on the program for the next 3 hours.
to do our part, News 3 Today delivers Las Vegas stories that shape your community.
Just in some breaking news on the economic front.
So, whether it's late breaking
news,
bumper to bumper,
Avoid using flamingo.
or clearing skies,
No showers anticipated.
it's News 3 Today.
T-Mobile is launching something no other wireless network offers. Introducing Nothing. Pay nothing today and walk out of the store with a new phone.
What did he say?
Nothing.
You definitely said something about nothing.
Exactly. Go to T-Mobile, pay nothing up front, and leave with a new phone.
Wait, nothing rules.
She gets it.
Hey, thanks for nothing.
For the first time ever, switch to T-Mobile, pay nothing. No taxes, no fees, no money down. And walk out with a new phone. There are 250 reasons to choose T-Mobile, and now nothing is holding you back. On eligible devices with qualifying credit plan and 36-month finance agreement.
Zips App Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the Valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, Zips App is your one-stop shop, offering smog tests, oil changes, detailing, body work, and engine and transmission rebuilding. Plus, Zips App provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. Zips App Auto on Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipsappauto.com.
We're chatting with our guest, always safety first, 811 Megaphone Man.
Call 811 before you dig.
You never stray from your mission of letting homeowners, landscapers, and excavators know you should always call 811 before you dig.
Call 811.
Call for both small and big jobs. And 2 working days in advance?
811.
Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be.
Call 811 before you dig.
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
811.
This summer, skip the airport chaos and hit the road for the perfect family getaway in Cedar City. In just 3 hours, you'll trade the desert heat for cool mountain air, breathtaking scenery, and outdoor adventure everyone will love. From hiking and biking to fishing and stargazing, Cedar City delivers big fun without the big price tag. Ride the chairlift at Bryan Head Resort, catch a show at the Utah Shakespeare Festival, and explore nearby national parks. Start planning your summer escape today at visitcedarcity.com.
You wouldn't put your life savings into a slot machine, so why keep it at a big bank where every month can feel like a gamble? At One Nevada Credit Union, we aren't playing games with your money. You get stability, local service, and better rates. Stop pulling the lever and hoping for the best. Switch to One Nevada Credit Union. Don't gamble with big banks. Federally insured by NCUA.
Raider Nation, JT the Brick for Finley Volvo Cars of Las Vegas. Right off the 215 on Rainbow. You can't miss it. And if you're looking for a great lease, how about this? 2.99 APR financing for up to 72 months on all 2026 Volvo models for qualified buyers. It's a beautiful showroom. It's a great deal on one of the safest vehicles in the world. Finley Volvo Cars, Las Vegas.
Cofield and Company presents Grab Bag on ESPN Las Vegas.
Stick your hand in there, dude.
Back with the bag here on a Monday. By the way, a few things have broke while we're on the show. Jordan Tyson, the number 1 pick of the Saints, who was awesome at Arizona State, but what was the issue? Couldn't stay healthy. Likely 2 months out with a hamstring issue, and he has been dominant based off all reports in camp. So that's a big blow for a team in a bad division that, again, I don't know if I haven't made my official NFL predictions yet. I know who I'm picking to win the whole thing. And I think I know who I have coming out of the AFC. But everything else to get to that, I'm not 100% certain of. The Saints would have been worth a look in the NFC South, but That was more on the fact that their division is horrible and a joke, but that's pretty bad. 2 months out for Tyson, who again came in with a lot of injury problems at Arizona State. Back in the bag.
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
Here's another weird one for baseball. Ketel Marte is on the restricted list after no showing tonight's game at Fenway for the Diamondbacks against the Red Sox. By the way, going well for the Diamondbacks, down 7-0 at Fenway right now to the Sox. That is just very, very bizarre. They did not even, the Diamondbacks didn't even post their starting lineup until 15 minutes before first pitch tonight because of this with Marte. So who knows what's going on? We don't know yet. Probably have more clarity tomorrow on this. Oh, also, by the way, the Padres have had 4 guys thrown out at the plate tonight. 4. One of them was a traditional force out, but 3 of them were outfield assists. It's pretty good. Good job by the third base coach in that one. By the way, important game for the Padres, losing 2-1 right now in New York. Back in the bag.
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
You know, just want to throw this out there because we didn't really touch on it. So the whole Kawhi Leonard craziness that's now been going on for 11 months with the NBA and the Clippers and Kawhi and did they circumvent the cap, all that. The NBA put out a statement today, and there are multiple reports as well that were before the statement of that no evidence funneled from Ballmer to Kawhi Leonard via sponsors. Now, you can take that as, at least in my book, take that as you may. Again, I think there's a lot more going on than just that. It's not that simple. And I think that Ballmer probably was able to cover tracks as well with this. Again, I'm just curious if like the punishment ends up being lacking on all sides. We kind of brought this up last week of how scared was the NBA of the fact that Ballmer is the richest guy in the room or one of the richest guys in the room now. So very curious to see just how that all plays out over the next few weeks. Because, hey, Kawhi Leonard is still technically a member of the Clippers, by the way. That trade with Toronto still hasn't gone through because of everything with this nonsense of this whole investigation. All right, that's what we got for you today. Cofield's back tomorrow. Big thanks to everyone who joined us today. Steve Kim, Jesse Merrick, Coach Josh Passner, by the way, UNLVtickets.com, and, of course, Caleb Herring as well for joining us here on a Monday. Thank you, JD, as always. I'm Jeff Parles. See you again tomorrow. Cofield and Company, ESPN Las Vegas.
The Golden Circle Sports Bar inside Treasure Island is the ultimate spot to catch all your favorite sports on huge video walls. 55-plus TVs offering ideal views from every seat. Gourmet comfort foods, craft beers on tap, and all your favorite beverages. Plus, Treasure Island is the only place on the Strip with free parking.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware. Fast, easy, and built